Welcome to Origami in a Story. My name is Jess, and today we're going to be learning about Pablo Neruda. He was a Chilean poet, diplomat, and politician who won the Nobel Prize in 1971. Although Pablo traveled all over the world working for his government, some of his poems are about everyday things like onions, bars of soap, socks, and cats. So today, after our story about Pablo, I'm going to show you how to fold an origami cat. As Pablo said in his poem, Ode to the Cat, nothing hangs together quite like a cat. All right, let's get started with our story. This is Pablo Neruda, Poet of the People, by Monica Brown and illustrated by Julie Pashkis. And I want to say a big thank you to Henry Holt and Company and Macmillan Books for allowing us to read this aloud. Thank you so much. All right. Once there was a little boy named Neftali who loved wild things wildly and quiet things quietly. From the moment he could talk, Neftali surrounded himself with words that whirled and swirled just like the river that ran near his home in Chile. Neftali loved to play in the forest, ride horseback, and swim in the river with his friends. Neftali's father was a train conductor, and sometimes he would take his son with him on the train. Whenever the train made a stop, Neftali would run off into the forest to search for beetles and birds' eggs and all ferns, tall ferns that dripped water like tears. Neftali wasn't very good at soccer or at throwing acorns like his friends, but he loved to read and discover magic between the pages of books. A very special teacher named Gabriela Mistral gave him wonderful books from faraway places, and Neftali decided he wanted to be a writer too. When he was a teenager, Neftali changed his name to Pablo Neruda and began publishing his poems. He always wrote in green ink, the color of the ferns in the forest and the grass beneath his feet. Pablo moved to the big city of Santiago and met other writers. Together, Pablo and his friends walked the streets wearing great black capes and tall hats. They talked about books and shared their poems with all who would listen. Pablo wrote poems about the things he loved, things made by his artist friends, things found at the marketplace, and things he saw in nature. He wrote about scissors and thimbles and chairs and rings. He wrote about buttons and feathers and shoes and hats. He wrote about velvet cloth, the color of the sea. Pablo loved opposites, so he wrote about fire and rain and spring and fall. In the streets and with his friends, Pablo saw joy and sadness, so he wrote about both. And look, here's that cat we're going to fold. Pablo loved the stones of Chile. He wrote about stones rolled by waves onto the beach and stones polished by sand and salt. He wrote about stones tumbling down the mountain tops and stones in the hands of the stone cutters. Pablo loved the sea and the feel of the sand beneath his feet. He loved walking along the beach near his home in Chile. He found starfish and seaweed, red crabs and green water. He saw dolphins playing in the surf and rusty anchors washed ashore. Pablo wrote about the children who played in the sea foam and the sand, skipping stones and chasing waves. He wanted each child to share in Chile's wealth and hope. Pablo had many homes. One was in Spain, half a world away. This home was called the House of Flowers, because of the red flowers blooming from every corner. The House of Flowers was always filled with dogs and people, young and old. Because above all things and above all words, Pablo Neruda loved people. Pablo loved mothers and fathers, poets and artists, children and neighbors, and his many friends around the world. He opened his arms to them all. When Pablo saw the coal miners working dangerous jobs for little money, he was angry. When he saw that they were cold and hungry and sick, he decided to share their story. He joined those who fought for justice and wrote poems to honor all workers who struggled for freedom. Even when his poems made leaders angry, he would not be silenced, because he was a poet of the people. When soldiers came to get him, Pablo hid in the homes of friends and then escaped on a horse over the mountaintops of Chile. Pablo Neruda was brave. He wasn't afraid to share the story of Chile with the world. Pablo's voice was heard across nations and oceans. From his poems grew flowers of hope and dreams of peace. And there is a picture of Pablo Neruda. All right. So, thanks for enjoying that story with me. Now it's time to fold our cat. All right. So, you are going to need one square piece of paper and another smaller square piece of paper for this. All right. One for the head and one for the body. All right, let's fold our cat. I'm going to move you down here so you can see the paper. There we go. All right. All right, so let's fold our head first, because the head of a cat is very important. So you'll need to take your paper, and we're going to take the smaller paper and fold it in half. Like that. Then we're going to open it up and fold it in half the other way, like that, so that we have a big X in the center, like this. Next, we're going to fold down one of the corners to the middle, like that. All right. Then we're going to take that and we're going to fold it down to the middle, along that line that we just folded. All right. Next, we need to take these two side corners and we're going to fold them down to this point. So I'm going to take one and I'm going to fold it down like this. And then I'm going to take the other and fold it down like this. All right. Next, we need to fold up our ears. All right, so these two pieces we just folded down, we're going to fold them up to make our ears. So we're going to fold one up like this. And then we're going to fold the other up the same way. There we go. We've got our two ears. Now, the top of our head is a little pointy, and cats' heads aren't really pointy, so we need to take care of that. So we're going to take this corner, and we're going to fold it down a little bit. All right, just like that. So we've got our two pointy ears, and we've folded down the head. Next, we're going to turn it over like this, because next, we need the nose, which is at the bottom here. We're going to fold up just a little bit to make a nose. And press that. All right. And then we just need a little point folded down to make the nose. Just like that. Like that. Now we have his head. Okay, now you're going to get your other piece of paper and set that aside. And we're going to fold it in half first. Like that. We're going to open it back up. And then you're going to take this side, one of the sides, and you're going to fold it a little bit like a kite. I'm going to hold it up in one sec so you can see. Like that. Okay? And then you're going to fold the other side so that it's in the shape of a kite. So make sure your line is straight to the center. So there we go, like that. Next, we're gonna fold it in half. Okay, I think our cat needs a tail. So this pointy end here, right here, we need to fold it up. And you can decide how long you want your cat's tail to be. I want kind of a long tail, so I'm gonna fold it like that. All right? Now, this is probably one of the trickiest folds. You're gonna unfold it, and it's kind of like you're gonna turn a shirt inside out. You're gonna turn the fold inside out. We wanna open it a little bit, and then we wanna push this one up and fold it along the outside so we can turn it inside out, like that. All right? Let me do that again, just in case you didn't see it. So, we've got our cat tail folded up like this. We open it up and we push this part up, and then we're just gonna fold it along the lines. All right, there we go. So, we've got our body of a cat. Let's get the head, and then in the back, where you see this little pocket, right here, you're just gonna stick it on the top of the body right here. Like that. And then you have your cat. And you can draw some eyes and a nose and some whiskers, because those are all things cats have. All right? All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for another Origamian story and to learn about Pablo Neruda. And I hope you guys can go out there and find some whirling, twirling words just like Pablo Neruda about the cool things around you. Maybe you can even think of a poem about cats. All right, take care, guys, and until next time, have a good day. Bye.